Hey guys, I'm trying to hit 10k subscribers by the end of the year and I think we can get there with your help, so please subscribe. It would honestly mean a lot to me. Now let's go right into the stories. I tried to fulfill my girlfriend's fantasy by buying a male sex doll, but it backfired. Now she enjoys it more than I do. My GF shared a roleplay fantasy with me during the early stages of our relationship. By her own admission, she never expected our relationship to grow into something serious, so the purpose of her sharing this specific fantasy on one of our dates didn't feel like anything she wanted the two of us to actually do. It was a trivial topic between two people who didn't see a long-term future with each other and therefore felt comfortable discussing our absurd fantasies. This is how my GF explained her fantasy to me. She catches her supposedly straight BF fucking a male sex doll, which turns her on and prompts her to encourage him to continue fucking the doll while she watches and masturbates. No idea how I reacted at the time. But I always remembered my GF struggling to balance her embarrassment with her enthusiasm, which was wholesome as fuck and made me like her even more. I liked her so much that I wanted to keep seeing her, and thankfully the feeling was mutual. We eventually became GF and BF and life continued. My GF never referenced the gay sex doll fantasy again. Even when we experimented with a variety of other roleplay fantasies in the bedroom. I never forgot, and I figured it would be kind of cool to celebrate our 1-year anniversary by exploring the fantasy my GF shared with me. When I was nothing more to her than a guy she'd just wanted to have fun with in her free time, I decided to keep it as a surprise and let my GF believe that our anniversary dinner was as special as things were going to get that night. But little did she know that I secretly made all the necessary arrangements to bring her homoerotic fantasy to life. The plan was simple. Go out for dinner, come home, cuddle on the couch. However, mid-cuddle I would go to the bathroom, but that would be an act because I would not be going to the bathroom at all. I would instead beeline for the bedroom where I would get undressed and proceed to get things going with my male sex doll, which I ordered online weeks ago and managed to keep hidden until that moment. The idea being that my GF would begin to wonder where the fuck I was and then eventually find me balls deep inside the rubber butt of a lifelike sex toy. I was hoping that by the time my GF opened the bedroom door, I would have managed to get it up, get it in, and somehow make it look like I'm not just fucking an inanimate object, but the object of my deepest desire. Needless to say, I had to be hard to fuck the doll, which proved to be hard to do because, you know, it was a fucking doll with a dick. Not exactly my type. I never even heard my GF approach my bedroom because I was too focused on forcing my penis to cooperate. As soon as the bedroom door swung open, my GF and I saw each other and both of us fucking froze. My GF covered her mouth with her hand and asked if I was going to explain what the fuck was happening. I jokingly said she always wanted to be with a guy who was into fucking think sex dolls up the ass. My GF laughed and said she had no idea what I was talking about, but she was keen to know more. I reminded her of the moment at the beginning of our relationship when she revealed that she fantasized about a roleplay situation where she catches her BF fucking a male sex doll and then she ends up enjoying the show. My GF gradually stopped laughing and said she most definitely would have remembered something as specific as that, and yet she struggled to remember anything like that ever being discussed between the two of us or anyone else. I said I remembered though, hence the fuckable mannequin I was failing to fuck. My GF stopped saying she didn't remember what I was talking about, and Loke switched to disagreeing with me that she ever shared a fantasy like that with anyone because she refused to believe it was something she would think of, let alone enjoy. I made it clear to her that I would never have purchased a male sex doll, much less go as far as to fuck the thing, if it wasn't for the fact that I remembered her talking about how hot that was for her. My GF asked if one of us was gaslighting the other or if maybe one of us, aka me, was feeling somewhat ashamed about what was going on in the room before she walked in. I said I was feeling frustrated that she was refusing to even entertain the idea that she might have had this fantasy and communicated it with me. My GF said maybe I was confusing her with an EGF who enjoyed watching straight guys doing gay stuff. I decided to shut up and get dressed because I didn't understand what was going on anymore. My GF inspected the sex doll while continuing to question me about this so-called fantasy of hers that she was convinced was in fact my fantasy. She wondered if it was just her that thought the sex doll kind of looked like my best friend. I kissed her and said happy anniversary before I reiterated that this was all for her. My GF asked if that meant she could use the sex doll too. I said since both my dick and my chick, I never actually said chick, are not into me using the doll, then I would have no use for it, so consider it an anniversary gift. My GF thanked me and said she appreciated how vulnerable I was willing to be in front of her, regardless of whose fantasy it was. It's been a month since the night of our anniversary and one thing has become apparent to me. My GF loves the sex doll. In fact, she's been fucking it more than she fucks me, but she denies it, which seems to be something she does a lot when it comes to the sex doll. I wish I could go back in time and tell Palm to avoid buying a sex doll and save the money for a PS5 or some shit. TLD bought a male sex doll which I planned to have sex with in front of my GF, who once said she had a fantasy of watching her BF fuck a male sex doll. Realized I fucked up when A. I struggled to get hard. B. My GF denied ever having such a fantasy, thus making me look low-key, gay, and C. My GF now enjoys fucking the sex doll more than she fucks me, which she denies to comments. Firefight 3. Anyone going to talk about how she said she thought it looked like his best friend and now she wants to fuck it all the time? LOL. It didn't go over my head. I just didn't take the bait. I knew the best friend comment was an attempt to make me feel even more awkward about trying to fuck a doll with a dick. That doll looks nothing like my best friend. If it did, then my best friend should audition for a role in Team American 223. I just want to know how far he went. Is it one of those novelty blow-up dolls? There's more pool float than doll, or did bro splurge on a $3,000 real doll OOP? I went for the closest thing to re as possible because I foolishly thought the blow-up version might end up being too comical and potentially take my GF out of the moment. But that happened anyway. Paid $2,100 for a model named Max, but the true cost appears to be my relationship. What is this Akita dude? What are you even doing being in a relationship with someone like this? Oop. This might come as a surprise based on my post, but excluding recent events, my GF made me happy. I detected no relationship ending red flags until now. I'm not sure what to call what's been happening to us since the sex doll situation, but she's beginning to show me a side to her that I didn't even know existed. My friend planted a seed in my head. When I shared this story with him, he believes my GF wants to break up with me for whatever reason, and the sex doll unexpectedly became a possible exit strategy. Hence the gaslighting and the sex doll fucking. Remark 1423. She denies telling you about fantasy makes you feel awkward when you tried to do something special on your anniversary, tells you the doll looks like your best friend, and on top of it all she fucks it more than she does you. Something is off about here, and I think you need to have serious talk with your girlfriend before the seed your friends has planted into your head grows into doubts and resentfulness and in the end destroying this relationship from the inside. Update October 16, 2024. I made the mistake of purchasing a male sex doll for the purpose of fulfilling the homoerotic fantasy. My GFA pitched to me at the beginning of our relationship, which was that she fantasized about watching a guy fuck a male sex doll. I thought I was prepared to bring the fantasy to life, but I realized I fucked up when my GF walked in on me struggling to fuck the sex doll because I was unable to get hard. And then she informed me that she never had that fantasy, which convinced her that I must have misunderstood her or imagined the whole fucking thing. What happened for weeks afterwards was my GF sticking to the narrative that she never shared that fantasy with me and then making the decision to fuck the sex doll since I no longer had any use for it. When I recently shared my story on Reddit, mods removed my original post. The comments were kind of split between my GF gaslighting me and me misremembering what she said. My GF and I basically agreed to disagree about the origin story of the fantasy and moved on in an attempt to finally embrace the awkwardness of the situation. I decided to follow the advice of a few Redditors and proposed a threesome featuring me, my GF, and the sex doll she was apparently fucking. My GF laughed and said I was investing too much time thinking about the sex doll before telling me that she's actually never been intimate with the sex doll. She unexpectedly confessed that she was playfully planting seeds in my head to make me believe that she was fucking the sex doll because she didn't know what the fuck to make of the fantasy. I believe she came up with it. So instead of prolonging a fantasy that none of us were enjoying, she improvised and incorporated ingredients that she thought would spice things up. Hence her month-long mind fuckery, to make me feel like I'm competing in the bedroom against a humanoid sex toy. My GF and I had a long conversation about transparency, she said. She appreciated that I was willing to be vulnerable for the purpose of pleasing her, but to avoid uncomfortable situations or misunderstandings, she encouraged me to rather inform her about things that involve fantasies and kinks, especially if I'm gonna end up spending money on expensive sex dolls. I apologized and also encouraged her to follow her own advice and keep me in the loop if she was going to play mind games. As soon as my GF and I cleared the air, we were left wondering if a threesome with the sex doll was still something we wanted to do. I was leaning towards leaving the sex doll out of the bedroom and out of our lives forever. But my GF seemed keen to want to see me fucking the doll, since that was apparently her fantasy according to me. So as a couple, we decided to fuck the sex doll together, and you know what, it fucking sucked. My GF, who had the sex doll in her possession, didn't tell me that her dog somehow managed to find the sex doll and eat parts of it. When I saw the doll in front of me, it had chunks of hair missing on its head. Its top lip was ripped off and both nipples were gone. It was the stuff of nightmares. My GF was very apologetic and quick to point out that everything below the waist was still in one piece, so it was still fuckable. But all I saw was the thousands that I regrettably spent on a realistic sex doll that now looked like Jim Carrey is Fire Marshal Bill anyway. So I butt fucked Bill, but I was only able to get it up because my GF offered to give me a hand. It was the most shameful orgasm I've ever had. My GF had a hard time making eye contact with me afterwards without laughing. Worst sex I've ever had mixed with the worst money-making decision I've ever made. TLD. Coming back from my original post, which has been removed, my GF and I made peace and decided to fuck the sex doll together. The sex was absolutely terrible, and the sex doll looked fucked up because my GF accidentally allowed her dog to destroy it. So not only was the sex the absolute worst, but I literally fucked away thousands out of my bank account because I'm unable to return the sex doll now that it's been deformed. Comments. Rush 2049. If this story is true and it's odd enough that I think it actually could be, you need to seriously reconsider your relationship. This is way too much energy into mind games over something that was supposed to be a thoughtful gift for her. Then she didn't take care of the asset either, and instead of returning it, she destroyed it, fucking weak-ass behavior in a partner. And this situation almost reads like she's getting a kick out of seeing you be embarrassed. You're not having sex for months. This story makes me think your girlfriend sucks. I hate comparing my GF to my exes, but I can guarantee that most of my exes, if not all of them, would have buried the sex doll fantasy that night. If this was some kind of misinterpretation from my side, not something they were into, none of them would have exploited. My fuck up and low-key extended what was an obvious failed attempt on my end at being thoughtfully kinky on the surface. There seems to be peace between me and my GF, but I have a feeling that the sex doll might have indirectly exposed the cracks in my relationship anyway. This is what I'm saying now tomorrow. I might just feel like I was overthinking everything and regret this comment. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around.